Welcome in, guys. Hope you all are doing fantastic. Adam here, the Orlando drummer, and today we are talking about a cool groove that I've titled Buzzer. So this groove requires the use of the Herta, which is a less common rudiment, I suppose. If you're not familiar with the Herta, definitely don't learn it here. Go check out the Herta 101 and 102 masterclasses. That is the place to learn the Herta. But beyond that, this groove is basically linear, right? So it's all one note at a time. So we have like an intermediate pattern to learn, and then we're going to sneak this Herta in here. I think it's a really cool groove. I think you guys will like it. So let's get notation up on the screen, play it up to speed as always, and then we will break this guy down. Here is Buzzer. All right, so let's talk this guy out. So first thing to pay attention to is that our Herta is happening inside of beat 2. But if you look at beats 1 and 3, kick, right, kick, that theme, that little 4-note sequence happens exactly the same in beat 1 and beat 3. Pretty easy, so you can isolate, literally it's half of the groove, right? All of beat 1, all of beat 3, same pattern. Kick, right, kick. Now, if you're interested in adding some texture to that, you can definitely dig in the second right hand of that pattern. So we would have kick, a very light hi-hat tap, and then a much louder, more aggressive second hi-hat. It's just a good way to bring some attention to that particular pattern, right? So you could try that out. Kick, right, kick. The way I'm playing it there is playing a tap with the tip of the stick on the flat surface of the hi-hat and then digging the shoulder on the second one. Just something you can do if you want to add a little bit of texture to this particular groove. So that's beat 1 and 3. In beat 2, this is where we have our Herta happening. Now it's a very short Herta. It is only, technically 3 16th notes in length, but one of those 16th notes you can see is doubled into 32nd notes. So on the downbeat of 2, you have your left hand. That is the backbeat, right? Nice loud snare accent. Then we have the Herta played completely up on the hat as right, left. And the most important thing with the Herta really is just the spacing, right? It's the spacing of those 32nd notes against the 16th note. So you want to pay really close attention to just, making sure this Herta is spaced correctly, that the subdivisions are nice and accurate. It's going to give it a lot cleaner of a sound. And once again, if you're not familiar with the Herta, this is not the best place to learn it. Go to the Herta 101 and 102 masterclasses where there's a lot of exercises there that can help you get this really cool African rudiment down. So let me play for you just what you can see in beat 2. Left hand and then the Herta, technically this is the Herta 3 because it takes up 3 16th notes. That goes up on the hats. Check it out, just beat 2. Now let's zoom all the way down to beat 4. Beat 4 is kind of an interesting one. We have a left hand that is played alone, right? Just a nice linear style backbeat. Left hand played alone. Then we have 2 kick drums followed by a flam or a unison hit, whatever you want to call it. Both hands hitting together. And that right hand, I'm playing it on the hi-hat. Nice and open. So this is kind of like a second backbeat. We've got a left hand on the snare, but then that right hand really pulls out some sort of crash, some sort of hi-hat sort of sound. And you have a lot of options here. So just inside of beat 4, let me play it for you how it's written, then I'll show you a couple other things you can do. So that's how it's written. That's how I played it for the most part in the intro of this video. But if you wanted to, you can play that flam or the unison hit. You can play that with the right hand on a crash, on a stacker, on the bell of the ride cymbal. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you. But it's a cool opportunity to make this groove your own and just do something different there. So now what I want to do is really put everything together, but play this extremely slow. I want to play it slow enough so you can follow along with the pattern. And then I'll show you what you can do with that right hand at the end there as far as moving it around to some different surfaces. Check it out. Extremely slow. Now at that particular speed, it's not very musical, I get it, but it's good to start out linear grooves like this with a good amount of detail in them. You know, it's good to start them out this slow because you really just want to lock these patterns in and make sure that the pattern itself is really sinking into muscle memory, so you can go a little bit more on autopilot when it's time to speed this up. So that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna glue everything together, but I'm gonna bring this up to a little bit more musical of a tempo. I do think that the home tempo of this is a little bit on the faster side. I like how this sounds when it's fast. So when we get up to that higher speed, that's when I'm gonna move that right hand around and show you some other options that you can play with crashes and things like that. But again, it's just a good opportunity to make this groove your own. So we're gonna start out at a slightly faster tempo than what I just played it at. Again, still just follow along with those notes. Try to get this linear pattern internalized nice and deep. Then we'll do a medium practice tempo, and then we'll crank this thing. And when we crank it, I'll move that right hand around so you guys can see some of the other orchestration options that we have. Pretty straightforward one here, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. This is Buzzer. Let's play this thing at a few different speeds and see what she's all about. One other little bonus thing, I did it a couple times, I might not have mentioned it this way, but for that flam, the very last note of the entire measure, one really cool one I like doing is a tom hi-hat sort of thing. So I'm putting my right hand on a tom, I think it sounds good on a floor tom, and then left hand takes that hi-hat bark, right? Instead of the right hand taking it. I'll play that one a little bit slower, just a cool variation I want to share with you guys. Check it out. Let's crank that one up just for fun, and then we will call it a day. This is Buzzer. Hope you guys enjoyed it.